digital versus Spanish paper books to learn Spanish. My name is Franklin, and this is First1000hours.com.
Don't give up on your language learning marathon. You can make it. You can make it through your first 1,000 hours.
All right, so I just want to go ahead and put my screen up here. And again, we're going to talk about my opinion of reading digital versus Spanish books to learn Spanish. All right, and so I just want to share with you some things about myself that would be significant to this conversation. I've read over 1 million words in Spanish with a software called LingQ by God's grace. And then on April 12th of 2020, I just finished reading my first Spanish paperback book with about 80% comprehension without any software or dictionaries. And it's right here, El Progreso del Peregrino. That was really exciting for myself to make this accomplishment. All right, and I want to go ahead and continue in this presentation. I've talked about on First 1,000 Hours things like using the free Google Translate web extension to help read Spanish books faster. I've also had a pretty popular video on this channel about the difference between using Duolingo and the reading software called LingQ. And I've also talked about paper books, and so how I read my first Spanish book, and it was a combination between reading this paper book and using Google Translate. So I was using paper and digital. It was a really big struggle, but it was something that I was able to do by God's grace. And then I also continually talk about my reading progress on this channel and different goals I've had. So we're talking about reading. So the real question to talk about as well is, what type of Spanish books have I read? So on different channels, you might have people that might say that they encourage reading like kids books or something like that. But on this channel, I have taught, for this video I should say specifically, I'm talking about reading native level Spanish books. I've read native level Spanish books for adult Spanish speakers, mainly in keeping with Philippians 4 and verse 8. And that's what I have on my screen. And I also want to say hello to Language Learning Lover. I'm so glad that you're able to be here as well. And I'm so thankful for you to be here in different live streams. All right, and then some of the book titles I've read are in the description box of this video, and they will have paid or free links. And so I encourage you to, especially for like the free PDFs that I put in the links, go ahead and try to read like a page of that, and then you'll be able to find out more of my reading level and the type of books that I've read, and you'll have that experience to do that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and continue on here. So the question is, why read Spanish books digitally? Now, if you know anything about First 1,000 Hours, or I should say myself, I like to read things that are digital. I like technology and all of that. And so you can say that this is a channel that's talking about language learning, but part of it is a technology channel. Talked a lot about that, but I want to give you some of the reasons why it's important to read Spanish books digitally. So you might not have the vocabulary yet to read native level Spanish books without a dictionary or software. So this is what happened to myself. I picked up this book. I don't even know when. I think I picked up this book actually in like 2015, if I remember correctly. And it's called Palabras de Vida del Gran Maestro. And so what I did is I read like one page of that book like the next day or something like that, and it was too difficult for myself, and I didn't really know how to read the book anyway, and I put this book down, and then I read it like a few years later. And so what I did is I started reading it in paper. It was hard for me, so what I did is then I switched and transitioned into using LingQ, and I do have a affiliate link to LingQ in the description of this video in case you want to use LingQ. All right, so that was one reason. And then also you can read through Spanish words quicker, allowing you to increase your Spanish reading comprehension level quicker. So the more content that you can go through faster, that's just going to help increase your comprehension level. All right, and so when I'm talking about LingQ and encouraging you to do that, I want to be specific on that. Please don't just get LingQ if you get LingQ. I challenge you to get LingQ and read 1 million words with LingQ. And you might say, that's big. But hey, this is First 1,000 Hours. This is a channel that has specific goals that are very high. And so that's what I want to give you the challenge of doing if you use it. You can also use the free Google Translate web extension if you want to do that as well. All right, so Another thing is both LingQ and the Google Translate web extension allow you to read Spanish words without any translation first, and then let you look up the definition if needed. So this is really helpful if you want to transition into just getting a book like this, picking it up, and then being able to read it, because you're getting that experience of that basically digitally, but it's a helpful, I think, transition from doing something like Duolingo to actually getting into native level material. All right, so that's what I want to say there. Let's continue. I also want to let you know, before I talk about the paper books and why you should read those, is that First 1,000 Hours is now on Telegram. And so if you want to get like a behind the scenes view of First 1,000 Hours, and I have a link of Telegram in the description of this video. All right, let's continue. All right, so why read paper Spanish books? This is big for me to say this. Again, I'm like a digital guy, but I'm talking about reasons, and there are real reasons to read paper Spanish books. So let's continue. You might want to start weaning yourself off from having to use digital software to read Spanish books. And I think that's the goal, right? We just don't want to have crutches forever. We want to get to the point where we're using native level material without any help for the most part, at least. And then also you want to keep challenging yourself in language learning. You don't want to get to the point where you just stay stagnant and just say, okay, I'm okay, but you want to keep on challenging yourself. So I think digital it can be challenging too. Reading with LingQ, like the way I've done, is challenging, but then it's even getting more challenging as I'm in this transition stage where I'm starting to read paper books. So I finished El Progreso del Peregrino. I bought another book similar to this, like it's more like part 2 of Pilgrim's Progress. This had part 2, but it's a longer version of part 2. So I got that, and so it's coming in the mail in Amazon. It's a paperback book, and I hope to talk to you more about that in my monthly progress report at the end of this month. And I even bought another paperback book as well that I'm looking forward to reading too. So I'm continuing to challenge myself. All right, and then you also want to read paper Spanish books when you have enough understanding of Spanish vocabulary that you can read native level Spanish books mainly via context. So you're going to get to the point of doing that, especially if you're reading a million words and all that. You will see similar words that will come up time and time again, and those words you're going to be able to get the vocabulary base for being able to pick up a book like this. All right, and so there's another reason as well. You want to get to the point of reading Spanish books the way natives mainly do it, reading without a heavy use of a dictionary on every single page. That was me reading El Camino Cristo. I had to use it so much, but it's getting better and better and more easier as I continue to read. So I have a question for you that you can leave in the comments below. Paper or digital, which format do you prefer? You can see I'm a little bit biased. I like digital, but I'm actually getting more into paper. So I actually like both of the formats. And so I hope that you will let me know which one you like more. And I also want to let you know that I have a playlist of reading in a foreign language, and there's a lot of helpful things in that playlist, including my talk about how you can use a free Google Translate web extension to read. And then there's also a video that YouTube recommends, and I hope to see you in the next video.